Are current school-based policies sufficient for supporting the mental health of students in terms of creating a healthy learning environment?
When it comes to the school-based policies, I feel we know that throughout now the focus is more on academic achievements.
Right.
So the aspect of mental health is not a area of concern for the education system.
Correct.
And we know that in the society, if you look at it, again, there also it is not a concern when how far the people are mentally healthy. It's more of the physical health they look into. And all the more that is reflected in our education system. So rather than focusing on the, yeah, academic is important, at the same time the physical and the mental health, because education looks at the overall development of the child or any individual, be it in the school system or later in the higher education system. Education, the purpose of education is overall development or holistic development, where mental health is an important aspect. Unfortunately, that aspect is not addressed in the way it has to be addressed. So sometimes you see that in the policies, there will be these words coming in: mental health, concern to be given, and the appointment of psychologist is done by the school or in the higher education system, and but mentoring is there from the part of the faculty to do it. But how far this area is addressed in a systematic way, and also clearly understanding what are the problems that the students face in a person-centered manner, that approach, whether it is there, I doubt when it comes to the policies.
Makes sense. So how can policymakers balance the academic rigor along with the stress and anxiety that students face?
What I experience now for the past few years that I am in the field of teacher education and later as a faculty, what I feel is that we need to clearly understand in the academic, whatever the assignment is given or the examination that is happening. So does it really caters to the learning style of the student? One thing. So we are talking now a lot about universal design for learning.
Right.
You need to understand what is the interest of the individual or what is their ability level, what are their areas of strength, what are the areas that require extra support. So that kind of an understanding should be there. More often, you know your learner clearly. Then understand what are the requirements of the course that we have. So matching our academic assignments or whatever requirements that they put to assess the student, it should match greatly with, it's going to help them tomorrow. Second thing is that give them the options. Alternative way of evaluation has to be there in the system. Yeah, so that everybody. It is. I don't think that it is a matter of students are ready to work hard. Only thing is that if it is a interesting thing, you don't mind working hard. You don't feel stressed out because you are doing something that is very interesting to you. But if it is not, then I have to do it because I need to get grades. Then that itself becomes a stress. So any individual, be it in academic field or even in your workplace, if it is interesting and you're passionate about, then definitely you are going to there. You will definitely the outcome will be good. You will be more productive, efficient, and all. Otherwise, it's like because you are asked to do it.
Yes, that also leads to better student engagement and motivation.
Yes.
Like if learning is made fun, I think as students we are automatically, attracted to paying more attention, working hard.
Yeah.
What are some of the gaps you feel exist when it comes to implementing these policies?
The policies again, one thing is that we have to clearly now in our paper we are studying about the educational policy and we see identifying the gaps within the policies. And second thing is that when you're trying to implement the policies, how far all the people who are involved in implementing it, how far are they really understand what the policy is, what is the purpose of this policy, or clearly understanding that what are the ways, what is the plan of action to implement this policy. I don't know whether everyone is taken into account when it comes to policy formulation, when it comes to policy implementation. So when you want the policy to be implemented, again we have to find out what are the requirements there, whether you're fulfilling those requirements, whether to So if I am working as an educationist, I need to clearly understand what are the existing policies, what is required of me, be it in a school system or in a higher education system, be as a teaching faculty or non teaching faculty or an educational leader, what is expected of me to see that practiced. So mostly what happens is that the policy and the practice, there is a huge gap.
Very
Yeah. So I don't know how far the members who have to implement the policy are well informed of the policy, its nature of the policy, and again taking they can that audit about what is there for us now, what are we lacking, what do we have, then taking steps forward that. So somewhere a kind of a collective approach has to be there. It's not that because I'm in charge of the institution, I am now, government has told me you have to do this policy and I'm just doing it. It's not. Take everybody into account, who all, even including the students, I would say. Students should also know what is a policy. So that is why that collective approach comes in, means everybody takes the responsibility of fulfilling it. Otherwise, just a one man show it becomes, and others will be forced to do something which they don't know what is a, why am I doing this. So that gap is there, I feel. So that everyone should be well informed of what the policy is.
correct. So sometimes the people who are making the policy not necessarily come from an educational background. And how do you think we can address this? Because if someone who is not interacting with the diverse stakeholders in the field and is drafting a policy, it might not be, covering or addressing the needs of the different stakeholders who are actually involved in the education system.
So just one to relate this, I would like to take the example of a housewife, a mother in the house who is taking care of the house. So if you want to renovate the kitchen, if you want to renovate, I mean, considering that, how can this place, whoever working in the kitchen, to make it the life easier for them, what are the facilities to be given and all. So rather than someone who never enters the kitchen takes the decision, it is important that we talk to the mother in the house and see, this is what we are planning to do. What sort of changes do you need in the kitchen? How should be the arrangement done? Which is a, so if you are not involving, means tomorrow you are making a, means you are spending a lot and giving them a well kitchen and all, but the person may not find it that easier to move around and do things. But if she has taken the, or he or she has taken the initiative to design, then it becomes much easier. Same way in our system, teachers are playing the most important role because they are the people, the down level, who are planning to implement this, whatever the policy we are coming talking about. But hardly we see them being part of the policy formulation. So never. So what happens is that, just for example, if I'm a postgraduate in education, so tomorrow I can be in the system as a teacher educator. Just take a PhD program and I'm a teacher educator. Now, once I start, I don't know the difficulty of what it means to be in a classroom, addressing the number of 40, 45 or 60 students. And now curriculum, we have to complete the curriculum. And you have other requirements of the school regarding co-curricular activities. If I have not experienced that struggle, how will I be able to say that, okay, these are the changes to be made in the system?
Right.
So because of that, what happens is that we get policies which sounds well, very healthy policies we get. But when it comes to the reality, then we understand that no, we are not ready for that. It sounds good, but when it comes to the reality, means that it looks like a very suggestive measures are there. You can do this. The system should be in a cultural responsive. It should be, and it should be, everybody should be included in the classroom. They should be given special education support, alternative system of evaluation. Sounds good. That should be the thing. But when it comes to the system, how far the system is ready? Is the ground ready for the seed? So if not, then seed remains like that. You may be changing it in between, but you have not prepared the ground to do that. Yeah.
So the policies are very idealistic in nature, and when
Yes.
it comes to like executing or implementing it, the system is not ready to accommodate all of it.
Yes. So that's why we always see that before implementing the policy in its full sense, or the new policy has come. So what has happened the old one? So on what ground have you made the changes? Again, have you really taken into account the people who will be fulfilling those policies? Who will be taking it here? Who will be implementing that? What are their, I mean, how far they are equipped with resources, equipped with whatever is required for them to fulfill that. Is there any proper monitoring system? So monitoring system, then we can say that, okay, these are the loopholes in our policy, we have to change. But we don't have a proper monitoring system. So such kind of evidence-based approach is not there when it comes to the policy formulation and policy implementation also.
Absolutely. Then we also talk about the grading scenario in our country, especially when it comes to competitive exams like CAT. And there's a lot of anxiety that students face when they are given the outcome or the results of such exams. So, how can educational policies play a role in improving this situation?
So it's a, if you want somebody to be ready for a competition, it is not just within few days it can happen. So right from the moment, one point is that what is this? Do we really need that competitive approach? That is first and foremost thing. Second thing is that of course there is a requirement that we have to find out who is capable of doing what. So in that case also it should be gradually prepare the student towards such kind of a thing. So what we see in the school system is that with the no detention policy and all, there is no stress or no competition for me to achieve anything. There is no motivation.
Right.
So then I reaches to the ninth standard. Then I am told that no, you have to be competitive now because now you have to score marks. You have to go to your 10th standard. After 10th standard, you are told that now you have to go. In fact, from my experience, what I see that the stress life begins from ninth standard onwards. So till then you never experienced it. So how usual, suddenly you're coming up with something, and I would say that that kind of a stress is not just affecting their educational life; it is affecting their social life as well. Social life in the family, in their among the friends circle, even in the community. So we need to clearly understand now. One is that whether it is required. Second thing is that how far the students are prepared for that. Third thing is that the mentality of the society that there are certain professions that is kept in well highlighted.
Correct.
So everybody is geared towards that.
Right.
Now that mentality should be also changed. So you have to see that now this competition is happening. Which are the areas where this competition is happening? Is it only with engineering or the medicine, or is it with the business MBA? Where is it exactly is happening? Why is that there are various other professions? Yeah. So why is it not? Then we need to understand why this area is more concentrated, kind of a thing. So and again, considering the individuals, that uniqueness we talk about, the individual strength we talk about, that has to be addressed. Children are made aware. They are given the exposure to different societal needs. You are not just engineer, doctor, or a police, or the lawyer, or anything. There are a lot of other areas where all society needs, because there also you will require professionals who will build up the society. So that exposure has to happen while they are in the kindergarten onwards, I would say. Even when they are introduced as what EVS we learn about community workers and all. Why do you limit to few people? Introduce all the community workers who are contributing to build up community. Everybody builds up community. Even the milkman is contributing. In that newspaper wallets is all contributing. So in that each person is building up the society. There is no that someone is doing a lot and someone is doing a less. It is not. Everybody has their own share in that. So can we make our students? Can we teach them to respect and to find out that make it like a skill-based approach in all these professions as well. So that has to happen when they are growing up.
Right.
So the society's mentality also interferes with this competition kind of thing.
The depiction that is there in school textbooks for certain careers, like how it is segregated gender-wise.
Yes.
Like whenever it comes to anything related to work, there is a man shown in the image. When it comes to anything related to household chores, it's always a woman. So I think even these depictions play a very huge role in shaping the mindset of young children.
Yeah, so that's what even the textbook also comes with certain these points kind of. Then I really appreciate that a lot of these concepts of these topics are now addressed in the textbook.
Right.
And again, now the teacher who is going to teach this or address this in the classroom, how far she is open towards that.
Yeah, how far she's
Yeah.
aware
So
of-
what? That is what the things are there, but again, the mentality of the person. Do I appreciate different kinds of the neurodiverse community we have, or different kinds of profession we have? So do we really appreciate that? If not, again, what happens is that it becomes again like a learning something and write the exam, score the marks.
and then forget.
Yes.
Right.
So that internalizing what we are learning in the school, that hardly happens. There isn't time for the learner to reflect. The learner is spending more time to learn whatever is given so that I can produce it in my exam and score marks. That internalizing, so there is no exercise for them even to internalize. So
Right.
somewhere within the curriculum, I feel we have to slow down. We have to really look at the content, that load that is there, curriculum load, and within that have lot of reflective practices in that, so that when they are growing up only, they are learning to be reflective and grow.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that in our system.
I agree. I think incorporating activities that revolve around meaning, moment making, or like finding purpose
Yes.
really helps students to reflect on what is actually important to them and how they can apply it in the real world.
Yes.
That's what, like, if someone wants to contribute in the field of policy making, what kind of qualifications are required?
The qualification now, if you look at it, most of them are from the education, in the education policy wise. If you say they have done the education studies, and then they have done the PhD program in that, and with some maybe mostly whomever we see that education policy makers have worked more in the sector of higher education.
Right.
So hardly we see people who are from the school education level moving into the policy. Yeah. So if that happens, I think there will be a change happening. So mostly that is what we are seeing, is that whoever has contributed to the education policy are mostly people who have less experience of being in the ground reality. That they're not, yeah. So that absence of the knowledge of the reality is there. So if somebody comes from that, so mostly that after the PhD program, and you have sufficiently, you have now with the requirements, you have done a lot of research publications, you have conducted a lot of research and all. From that light of research, you are contributing something and say, these are the areas we have to improve.
Yeah, from the findings.
Yes.
Are there any policies that you think students and teachers should be aware of in today's time?
All the education policies, all the educational schemes,
Right.
acts and policies. Now we have RT Act, we have even for the NEP has come now. Then this RPWD Act is there, where again there one chapter is about the education of the individuals with disabilities. So even a lot of schemes have come up to include everyone, right? For the minority group and for the people with the disabilities, and also so even with the midday meal programs and all this are to bring the learner to the school and make them learn. But so everyone should be everyone. Maybe I may not be part of a minority group, or I may not be part of a disability group, but still I should know what are the policies. Being the citizen of the country, I should know all these acts and policies and schemes, because one thing is that it is for myself. If I require any kind of a support, because it is my right. Nobody is doing any favor on me. It is my right to education, and the system in my country should ensure that my right, they are providing me all the facilities. So it should be. And plus, if I feel that my friend or maybe my relative or somebody in my community requires support, we have that role of an advocacy as well. I need to do it now. If I want to advocate for somebody, I need to know. No? And that is one thing. Second thing is that what I feel that in the society, often people don't realize that this is something that needs to be addressed.
Right, there's no awareness about it.
So it's just, it happens. It happened to so and so, it happened to this person, it happened to the other person. So you just think that, it happens in every many people have experienced it. So it becomes like a common experience.
And that's how it gets normalized also. It was very unknown.
Many things have become normalized. That is why it is becoming that somebody is doing a favor on me when they are doing this for me. So we will never question something unless we know that it is something wrong that is happening. So that education has to be given to the students, that they need to learn. I'm saying in the history, civics and all, whatever in the school level itself, they need to learn a bit about this. In their level of class, whichever grade they are in, they need to learn that these are the education policies. So as a child also, because it is their right? We're talking about Juvenile Justice Act, we have and all this thing and all. So I should know, and they are capable of knowing and asking for that. So that's what I'm saying. Social workers or it's not with the BSW or MSW you become that, or an activist.
Right.
When they are growing up itself, give them the opportunities for that. Let them know what is happening in the society and what the society is offering, and whether the people are getting it. That clearly understanding the sense of equality, what it means to be equity,
Right, the difference.
those terms, and all, they need to be clear with that. I feel there are spaces where you can introduce that.
Right, so incorporating this in the syllabus itself will be helpful.
Yes, very much.
Because I feel other than that, nobody has that extra time and bandwidth to, go and separately look up for the policies, read it word to word, especially in this generation where, they're constantly hustling. So if it's
Yeah.
incorporated in the syllabus itself, then by hook or crook, everybody will achieve
Everybody,
both
yeah.
at once.
And one more thing is, if you want to develop the sense of that this is my country,
Right.
we all take the pledge, right? India is my country, all my breath. So if I really want to, again, how do you make that sense of the patriotism we say, how do you make the student develop that? Is it not on August 15th or January 26th, something happen and you go and look at the flag and you are giving a salute? Is it that limits there? No, when I'm growing itself, I'm learning about my country and what are the strengths of my country. At the same time, what are the areas where my country has to grow. So when I'm learning about these policies and things, whatever is happening in the around, that's what I always feel that a teacher should always bring a newspaper to the classroom. The teacher should make them know that what is happening in your locality, not just the headlines. In the assembly time, I'm sure that in your school days it had, in my school days also it had. I'm sure even now it is happening.
Still happening.
Yeah, how can we take them beyond that?
Correct.
So not just the headlines, know what is happening, and because lot of things are related to our curriculum. When you are learning environment, take care of your environment. This there in your science books, right? Later in the before it was in the EVS, later we are learning more about that, taking care of that. Secondly, is that even when you are in the English or the language what you are teaching, your own regional language, how can we build them kind of we know that people are losing, India is losing a lot of languages. We are losing a lot of it. Secondly, yeah, English we require. What happens to our own thing?
Mother tongue.
That, that richness of our culture, the diversity in our culture. So that is not there in many other countries. So how far the coming generation is aware about this? How far, that's what I was talking about, internalizing things. That will happen only when you are reflecting over that and having lot of activities in the classroom where you build up that sense of, yeah, this is my country, and I want to make sure that my country grows, and I want to contribute to my country. So that kind of a thing, and so more than bringing a lot of doctors and engineers and all, I think we need to get people who have that sense of belongingness to the country and to the community that they belong to. Yeah, not to become narrow-minded, but more of understanding in a as a country. So when you are introduced to different cultures, how you learn to respect the culture. So all this thing will happen only in the education system. So those areas we need to focus. And if you say the NEP policy and all, yeah, they have just here and there, it is there, but how it is being brought to the textbook and how it is being translated to the students. So that is somewhere we are missing, I feel. But for that, teachers have to be trained because they are the only source. They are the only source, so they have to be strengthened. So unfortunately, the role of teachers are undervalued. Means they don't really understand what is the value of a teacher. I would say more than the higher education teachers, the kindergarten teachers and the primary group, and they play the very prominent role because they are already shaping them. And the higher education level time, when you get them in there, when they are +2 or the graduation and all, already formed. Then we have very less.
Initial years play a very crucial role in shaping the mindset, even like modeling that is, used as a
Yes.
method of learning. Observational learning with young kids really works.
Yeah.
Ma'am, what would be the one piece of advice you would like to give to the people who want to enter or contribute in the field of policy making, specifically in the educational sector?
More of, we say that read the pulse. Yeah. So you clearly need to know. If I want to, I always like these examples of farmers and the doctors, and I was in the medical field. Farmer, before doing anything, he goes and tests the soil. He tests the soil and find out that what is the, is it, sometimes I remember seeing a documentary where the farmer even tastes the soil. With that, he is able to understand, okay, what kind of a product can be grown here. So what is the fertilizer to be used? So first, yeah, you need to know what this ground is. Then, for those who have an exposure to that ground reality, spending time there and trying to understand, and all the more is that India, we know that the level is very high among India. Be it a rural, even within the urban also now we know that lot of areas are there. Every school is not working the same manner. What the differences are there? So clearly understanding what the ground is, what is the reality there, and also interacting with the people working, the grassroots level workers, interacting with them, clearly understanding what the reality, then with the reality, have a check on the policy, how it is matching, what are the gaps in that. Then they have to. Otherwise, just randomly going and having a look, I don't think that
That's not going to
you have to test it.
very
Test the field because we are dealing with human beings.
absolutely
So unless you test it, you can't.
true that. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, ma'am. This was really very
Yeah.
insightful.
Thank you. Thank you so much.